It's time for ignition and straight up automobile pimping.
Dude, where's my car?
Dude and dudeettes, welcome back to another episode of the Dude, Where's My Car podcast. I'm your host, Tom. I have my lovely co-host with me, Mr. Tony Hung from the slums of the Shaolin. Man, how you going?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, bro. I've already got my first controversial topic, which I know is going to alarm a lot of people today straight off the bat, so I can't wait to get in that with you, but this is the type of shit that I think about.
Yep.
Tony, between us, we have a really special guest from the European market.
Indeed, we do.
We have been getting a little bit of shade because apparently we don't share enough love to the European market. So without further ado, the man sitting in the middle of us today, his name is Aasim. He is the founder and he's also the president of BMW Sydney Owners Club. Did I say that right?
It's BMW Owners Sydney.
I'm almost BMW Owners Sydney Club, and I just got schooled. It's okay. I like that. Aasim, how you going, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good, bro. I feel like there was only so many times I was going to get that wrong in my head, but I was like, how many BMW Sydney owner club owner Sydney? I was like, no, this isn't going to work out for me. But yeah, bro, sorry about that, bro.
No, that's all right. Yeah, there's only just Sydney. There's a Club New South Wales, and then there's a Club Sydney, but we're the only one that has Owners Sydney.
Oh,
Okay.
so there's actually other groups.
There is different groups.
Yeah.
They are run by the older crowd, so the typical guys that do the cars and coffee and all
the
that
man from Vaucluse for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're more the youthful side, I like to say.
The fresh blood.
the fresh.
It's funny that you bring that up, bro, because I want to dive into something about that today because I feel like there's a lot of different type of characters who drive BMWs, and I want to find out who these characters are today. Sometimes, look, a lot of people think that you've got to own property in the eastern suburbs of Bondi to own a BMW. That couldn't be further from the truth. Am I right?
That's pretty true, yeah.
Absolutely. Fucking look at that, off to a right start. Now, boys, I hope you don't mind, but there is something that I've got to get off my chest. Don't ask why this is my first thought when I woke up this morning, but this truly was what I was thinking about. License plate relocation kits. Sick mod or shit mod?
We know our producers told me.
Hear me out. For the MX-5, I don't like the idea of a relocation license plate kit because where it goes in front of my fog light delete, which is sucking in all the air for the turbos. And I don't like that. For some cars, it may work, but I looked at it the other day because I took my license plate off and I was like, I wouldn't put it anywhere else other than where it is destined to be because otherwise it just kind of ruins the whole shape in front of the car. Do you agree?
I think I'm 50-50 on it because on the newer BMWs, the G series, they've got the big grills, and I've seen a lot of people online now have got them on the side to show off the big grill. And then there's some people that like to keep it in the middle to break up the grill because they're not a big fan of it.
The big nose.
The big grill, yeah. I was just going to ask, what do you guys think of the new BMW grills? It was pretty controversial.
I'm going to let Tony go for that one.
Initially, I love the F82s. I fucking love them.
I have to agree. They're one of my favorite designs.
As soon as I saw the new Gs, I was like, it's so fucking ugly. It's so fucking ugly. I kept telling everyone about it. But then after seeing the body kits with that grill on, it just started growing. I'm like, it's actually not bad. It's not bad. But on the Gs, I'm saying it's okay. But on the X5s, the newer model ones, because of the size, I think it's a no. Or even the XMs.
Oh, yeah. It's even lit up with the LEDs around the grill as well.
Shield. I'm in chivalry with a fucking shield in front of me.
I was going to say, speaking of the big body kits, the wide body kits that you can put on those new BMWs, honestly, I feel like you don't really notice it until you get up close. It's it's a fucking tank. It's it looks heavy.
What do you think? Do you like them?
I think it depends on how it's done. I do like heavily modified and tastefully modified BMWs. I think it stands out more than just the typical standard ones that you get off the showroom.
Yeah.
So having one with a body kit, with a wrap, with some nice wheels, I think makes it stand out quite a lot.
What about the grills? You faded away from the grill.
Big nose,
Okay.
big girl.
At first, I wasn't a big fan of it. I think most people weren't a big fan of it. It has started to grow on me a little bit more. I think the way BMW has done it now is to stand out more in the market, because now, back in the day, the Europeans were terms of like leading for design. And now you got Kia and Hyundai that have now got ex-BMW and Audi designers. So now for them one thing that they had was design, and now that's been taken away. So they now have to reinvent themselves and stand out more as, as a premium luxury brand. So
I like that's a different take on it.
Wow. That's a professional answer from the president of BMW.
well, there's actually, according to BMW's research, in China, the big grills supposedly like a status way in a kind of thing. Like that's why Rolls Royces have big grills and Bentleys have big grills. So it's kind of like a status thing that they've trying to done. So
Tony, as a man who can speak the language, is that true?
It's just saying it now. I think it is, because we've had a lot of people with like Mercedes and stuff, and they come in with big grills that they want. They want no emblem, and they just want a big grill. On a lot of cars, those, the Alphas, a lot of those vans, they come in just wanting a big grill. So I think it is, because I've had a lot of those clients. It must be true.
Well, when you go to the Taiwan show and the China show in a few weeks,
I'll keep an eye out. I'll let you know when I come back.
I'm just dying to know. This is all I'm going to be asking now.
Like, how are the grills?
So I'm living up on the Central Coast for the moment. I was on the phone to Tony one time. No, I wasn't the first time I saw this car. So Tony's got an amazing car. It's wrapped in this insane orange, right? In the Central Coast, there's this car, and I saw it at the glimpse of my eye. I thought it was Tony, because I was like, because the man's going away on a lovely hunter trip. It was over the long weekend, and I was like, oh, bro hasn't messaged me and he's in my hood. I feel really offended. Even if he's doing something romantic with his missus, I feel like you should at least tell me that you're in my hood.
do you feel like he was cheating on you?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Not that I ever told him every time I went to Macquarie to go play hockey or ice skate or anything like that. So I get it. It's fine. My point is this. There's this car with this same wrap. But because it was just so far away and at the glimpse of my eyes, every single time I saw it, I was like, fuck, what is it? Anyway, I overlook this hill and I look down and I see this orange, like fluoro orange wrap car going down, and I'm like, I'm chasing after this thing.
You can never catch up, that's why.
I'm on the phone to Tony and I'm like, bro, I found your twin. Turns out it's a fucking hectic BMW with that orange wrap on it. I have no idea who he is. I don't know if it's an older or a young dude, but I got the thing and I was like, fuck, this is sick.
You know a fun fact?
What?
That orange wrap, that same color,
Yeah.
I actually saw that on a BMW before I ever considered wrapping it orange.
Oh, it's the
And I was
same
like,
guy.
I fucking love this orange.
Are you guys talking about the E92? There's one like an orange one with like 23 or something on the number plate.
It's an F engine. Like it's,
It's an F series. Okay,
yeah, bro. It's new. Like it's fucking hectic.
I know there's a new one on the beat, like a older M2 that's wrapped in orange. But the one I saw was, I think, 2 series? 2 series, but a hatch.
Oh, the 1 series?
1 series hatch.
Yeah.
I think you probably even know the owner.
Probably.
That
I know a lot of people just by their plates or their cars.
I was about, is that like your job now? It's just like inside your mind, you know, everyone who drives a BMW by their plate or by their name.
Pretty much. And it's now extended to cars that are not even BMWs now as well. It's just like, oh, I know that car. I just don't know the owner though. But like, I know that car. I recognize the plate. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it on TikTok. But
That is why I keep telling you, you need plates for the MX-5. It just, it's the final touch to it. It gives it character.
It's the final touch, but we're nowhere near the final product, bro.
It's going to be years, so get that plate on first.
Well, at least we know what the plate's going to be. But yeah, I would love to put a plate on it, but the car's just not ready, bro. Also, you didn't answer my question.
What?
I asked, do you like relocation kits?
Oh, off the plates?
Yeah.
Unlike Aasim, yes and no. Yes, being on a lot of cars, especially BMWs, I like how they do in the States. They put the plate in the windscreen, like on the dash.
Yeah.
They don't run it at all.
Yeah, they don't have
I
it
wish
at
they
all
could
on
do
the
that
front.
here. We can't.
I don't
we
think
have
they
to
can
run-
in America as well.
Oh, really? I think some states
No,
they can.
They're meant
Yeah.
to have it on the front, but people just put it there as well and be like, oh, it fell off, or I'm just changing plates.
I'm pretty sure in certain states in America, you don't have to have a front.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
you
so there's that.
So they're hoping that you speed past, so they get you, so they get your plate
But then no, because on the Commodores, they have that bracket
for the plate.
built in for the bumper, and you
Yeah.
need to have a plate there. Otherwise, it looks like your plate actually flew off and you lost
Yeah.
it. So it looks shit.
But this is what I'm saying. There's like specific places where it's standard and it's OEM factory placement. It just makes the car look fine.
Yeah.
I will say this though, cars that don't have plates, especially on the front, do look mean. Yeah. I remember the day that I got the Spawn number plates on the Ute. So when I went to go hand in my old ones, I took them all off. I'll never forget it. I took it all off, and then I was just standing around the car, just like looking at it, and I was like, this looks mean. Like, this looks way better without plates on it at
I have
all.
to agree. The front doesn't suit the license plate.
Yeah.
Some of them do. I think like some of the Alfa Romeos, they got like on the side, with, like the grill going down the middle. It looks pretty mean.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it just looks better without it.
Yeah.
The Rexies look good with when they have one on the corner, just next to the grill, in that little pod section. That looks nice.
You know what killed me? And this just brought up a bad memory. When we went to, was it? Oh, it was Hot Imports Night. It was the one at the jail in Parramatta.
Yeah.
And I was with Bronte and her relocation license plate kit, because she took it off for the event for whatever fucking reason. And I remember whilst everyone was leaving, she goes, "Oh, can you help me put this kit back on?" And I was like, "Oh, it can't be too hard, right? It's it's 2 bolts. 2 bolts. No. Not for a relocation kit on a fucking S15. No. The way this thing was situated, the way it cups underneath the bumper and the way you have to screw it in, bro, I was underneath that thing for like 5 minutes. I'm there just like, this isn't fucking working with the ratchet that I've got in my hand. And she goes like, no, 100% work. And I'm like, it's not working. 1 minute later, she goes, oh, it's the wrong size. And I was like, I've been saying this for 8. I was there underneath. I've got all these sick cars going past, like 370Zs, all of like the KS bagged cars and stuff are going out. And I'm like, I'm missing this great opportunity right now.
I remember.
And here I am just like bleeding, just trying to put this license plate kit. I love you, Bronte. Fuck you. No.
Fuck the plates.
Should have just made you drive home without plates on. Fuck that shit. Love you. She definitely listens to this podcast.
Love you.
Oh, Aasim, as you may know, if you're an avid listener of this podcast, we like to do a little bit of a deep dive into our guests before we start talking absolute horseshit for the remainder of the episode, just so we can get a better understanding on who you are and like how you got into cars and what type of cars you have driven and what you drive now. So before I stop bombarding you, who are you, bro?
So my name's Aasim. I am 23 years old now, so a little bit old now.
Not at this table, bro.
Yeah, so I am the founder and president of BMW Owners Sydney. So I basically started the club because, like I mentioned earlier, most of the BMW clubs that pre-existed were run by like the elderly crowd. You know, the typical North Shore car club and Eastern Suburbs car club, you know, got the expensive BMWs that are, you know, $200,000, $300,000 back in the day. And yeah, there wasn't really much for the newer, younger crowd, I'll say. And they have a social media, but I'll say that they weren't very proactive with it. So like I started the club because I liked BMWs. Actually, originally I was a Mercedes fanboy. Then I turned to a BMW fanboy.
I'm ready for that.
He's made a good
We'll
decision.
hold on to it.
I'm going to reveal myself right now. I prefer BMW over Mercedes. I'm not saying they're shit. I'm just saying I prefer BMWs. I like the look of them. I like the sound of them. I love everything.
It's tough. It's tough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they weren't very proactive. So I decided to create an account. So actually, it first started off because I had a car account for my car. And I started,
Classic.
So I started following, you know, other BMW owners and all of that. And then all of one sudden I was just like, I'm pretty bored tonight. So I'll just start messaging these people on Instagram. So I was just like, hey, I'm thinking of meeting up, you know, this weekend. Did you want to meet and introduce yourself and show me your car and all that stuff. And this was back when you could park in the metros. So now you can't park in the metros anymore. And yeah, we met up. It was like 5 of us, which was, very humble beginnings. And then I created the page like later that day, and then I just went on a big spree of following other BMW pages and BMW cars, and then building up the page and following other owners. And yeah, it came up to that. And then we did our very first meet in August 2022.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, and
just after the cusp of COVID.
Yeah, so I think it was perfect timing because basically it kind of started late-ish 2022. So all the car clubs and social distancing and all that stuff. So there wasn't really anything happening because of the strict government rules and all of that we had. So when the restrictions eased up a bit, then I thought, all right, let's do a meet. And the best part was that I reached out again, but this time with the BMW account. And I put a story out, I put a post out. And then for like the first meet, we had like 25 plus BMWs come. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is first meet and we have like 25 cars. Like, and this is when the page only had like 100 followers or something. So I was like, wow, a quarter of the people have come.
Yeah. Man,
They were eager to go out.
that's the success rate, bro.
Yeah. And then it's just been building up. Like it's been crazy. It has personally been me. I've been the one that's doing the events, social media, everything myself. I have had a few people here and there help me out, but not really as a dedicated team. It's mostly been me, but I've had a few mates come help, and then a few other owners that own BMWs come have helped out as well. So yeah, it pretty much built up again around 2023, and then yeah, it just slowly got bigger and bigger, and more followers and more posts I did of other people's cars. We did poll battles where we like have this BMW against this other person's BMW, and we did a story, and then people would like which one they liked more, and then yeah, you just kept doing more meets, and then like we had a big turn around at a Benzin cafe. So if you guys know Benzin cafe, that's in Dural.
Yeah, we know it.
Yeah, so
We're familiar.
Love that place.
I had one of the cars and coffee there. So this was at a time when HCE was still around as well, and they were doing events at the V car.
Yeah.
So I had planned it in a way where I would have the cars and coffee from BMW before HCE, so that people would then go from Benzin to then Vika for the HCE meet. So when, like, because they started around like 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock HCE. So I would be there from like 7 to 9, and Benzin would be open. So then we'd have all these other people show up as well from different cars. So not just BMWs. And that first proper meet that we had a range of BMWs. We had M4 GTS, which was, about $300,000 BMW showing up, and all these other high-end M3s, M5s, and it was just like so surreal. And this was like the first big meet, and then everyone heading to HCE after at the VCAR, and I was just like, wow, that was a really successful meet. And then yeah, it's been going on since then. We started a Facebook page, and then we started reaching out to other car clubs that we have meets, and yeah, now. Fast forward to now, we're now opening up to more other brands. So it's not just BMWs. It's still solely BMW specific, but we have Mercedes, Audis, and now in recent videos you've seen, we've got Lamborghinis, Porsches, all that coming now. So
yeah. So a real European luxury style that you're going for there, which is a bunch of people really at the end of the day. I've got to ask, is it pretty safe to assume that you don't drive an Audi being the president of the BMW?
I mean, it would be pretty ironic, wouldn't it, if you just rock up in like an AMG or an RS4 or some RS5.
That's like slapping God across the face, bro.
And you're like, you're the president?
Unless it's like a V8 or something.
No, I don't. I drive, I've actually owned a few. So the current car I have, it's nothing amazing. It's a BMW 3 Series E90, 320. Still on my piece, so hence why it's the lower end of the.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Like, I want to know the cars that you've gone through and the cars that you've modded and things like that.
Okay.
Or, like, I don't know if you've crashed one. Like, I don't know. Like, start from the beginning.
I haven't crashed any cars yet. Not yet.
Touch wood, bro. Touch that fucking wood.
It's a rainy day today. Be careful.
There has been a few like, oh shit, and it like loses a bit of traction in the wet, but no, I haven't.
Think back on.
No, I haven't. So first car was, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's pretty much of a nugget. It was always European. So I always had European cars. So I never had a Japanese or a Italian or any of those others. It's always like a German. So like I said, I started off with Mercedes. So it all started off basically when my parents, they first bought their Mercedes back in the day. And this was like, you know, a secondhand one, but it was back in the day when I was like, wow. And we had like a Ford Falcon back in the day as well. So when we moved up to a Mercedes, I was like, whoa, this car's amazing compared to that.
A video man's like, fuck yeah.
I think it was the E series, EA or something, EA Falcon, the really boxy one.
It's old
EB.
school.
Fuck, if I gave him a microphone today, he would be laughing on this.
Yeah, it's the big boxy one. And it was a station wagon too, so so it started off with that, and then that fell for my love for Mercedes, because I was like, oh wow, it has, you know, stuff that the Ford didn't have, like leather seats and power windows and sunroof and like a sat nav screen. I was like, older than that one. The one with like orange side turn signal markers.
Anyway,
That's beyond your knowledge.
Yeah. We'll let you bring that up when it's ready.
So that was actually a W202 C-Class Mercedes. So that was the first generation of C-Class. Previously it was called a 190E, or that was actually the first C-Class, but was officially called C-Class in the W202 generation, which was late 90s to early 2000s. So that started off there, and then my dad bought my mum a W168 Mercedes A-Class, which was an A160. And I don't know if you guys have seen the early Mercedes A-Classes, the one that looks like a little triangle wedge of cheese, or that's the best way to describe it.
Are you saying that because you're a BMW owner now? Just slowly throwing shade at Mercedes.
Well, to be honest, that was my first car. So that was the hand-me-down car that I got, because my mum upgraded another Mercedes. So I got that as my first L plater / red P plater car. And it was slow, but it was fun at the same time, because it weighed like 1,000 kilos. And then you could literally just take out the seats. Like, there was a switch underneath, you just lift up and you just remove the seat. That's it. So you didn't have to unbolt anything, you just remove the seat and there you go, it's still like a van. So 1.6 litre, naturally aspirated, so no turbo. And front wheel drive.
Tough times, mate. You'd be losing against the Miata. What do you do?
You can fit more people than a Miata though. So after that, I did end up selling it to get a W204 Mercedes C-Class C200 compressor. So it's the 1.8 litre supercharged. And I thought it was amazing, because I was like, whoa, this car's like so cool.
Forced induction.
And so I loved Mercedes because of the SLS AMG and the SLR McLaren, all of those poster kid cars that you always dreamed of wishing to own. And that generation specifically, the W204 C63, has a special spot in my childhood heart, because that was like my favorite car growing up, and I was like, this is the car I want to get as an obtainable car. It still is, so who knows, maybe I might switch to a Mercedes later down the track.
He's hinting it. Mercedes-Benz Owners Club Sydney.
All of a sudden the name of the club changes and everyone's like, what the fuck?
So if you know about it, it's 6.2 litre V8. So I basically got the budget version, which was the 1.8 supercharged. But pretty much the same car from the exterior wise. And then after that, so after my dad then got a 3 Series E90. So he had a 325i M Sport LCI, fully loaded, luxury, like leather, sat nav, sunroof, It was the M Sport package, so it had the upgraded wheels, the aggressive front bumper, the optional LED headlights. It had the full business package, everything that you can imagine. It was fully spec'd. And then slowly we kind of went through a swapping car phase because I started driving the BMW. And then when you expect from Mercedes, it's a comfortable luxury car, right? You can tell that the prime audience for a normal Mercedes is an elderly crowd because it's nice, comfy, it's very soft. But
Doesn't hurt your back.
Doesn't hurt your back. And then the BMW was an M Sport. It was lowered, had bigger wheels, and
A little bit more aggressive.
A bit more aggressive. And then I was like, oh, maybe should be BMW. And the funny thing is, when we were growing up, I had an older brother, and he was always a BMW Porsche guy, and I was always a Mercedes guy. And then it was funny because he ended up being like, okay, yeah, I'm not a BMW guy now. I was like, but
Wait, are you saying that he switched? Is he now a Mercedes person?
No, he is still a BMW guy.
Loud and proud.
And a Porsche guy. I think that's for any BMW guy is Porsche next step. That's the only way they go, to be honest. I think that's their dream car.
They realize that it's too heavy and they go, all right, I need something that is just as powerful but not as heavy.
So then that started off, and then that's when I started modifying cars and getting into the car scene, because that's when I properly got my P plates, and then I was going to meets, and I was going to Western Suburbs like Rydalmere and Padstow and Tuned and all those guys back then in the 3 Series, and I was just seeing all these done up R34s and wide body cars, and I was like, oh wow, I really want to do something like this when mine. But then reality struck when
you need
I'm a
cash.
student and I need cash. So what's the first thing that you do is you look on eBay and you see what can you get and what can you fit.
You watch a YouTube series, you go, all right, I just need $1,000 cheaper version of that.
just take off the zero at the end.
Slice it
If I could just go to Bunnings.
You got the cardboard body kit. So I think if you notice, if you see around the road, you always see, I guess, P-platers or people who have lower end BMWs, the normal 320, 328, those ones. They have the eBay special where they've got the black M grills and then the CS style M3 spoiler on the back and the black the carbon fiber lower diffuser bit
Oh yeah. You BMW people love carbon fiber. Sometimes you go too far and you go forged carbon fiber.
I know you guys hate forged carbon fiber.
Yo, he was listening.
I don't know if hate's a strong word.
Not a fan?
I just said it just needed to be left in 2023.
I think forged carbon fiber, it does look good, but then I think it should belong on cars that are Ferraris and Lamborghinis, those cars that actually use the forged carbon fiber. I think it's good there, but I think it might look a bit tacky sometimes.
I'm going to be straight up
on different models of cars.
I personally am not the hype man for just carbon fiber, the way it looks. I understand its purpose. I'm for carbon fiber because it's a strong, lightweight material, but the actual look of the weave, it's not a pattern that I'm a fan of. If I could just wrap it or paint it, please do that. I don't like the look of it.
It does look a bit like a chessboard, but
yeah, dude, that's just my personal opinion. You're allowed to like whatever you like. I'm just saying, with the carbon fiber itself, I've got the wing, and don't get me wrong, it stands out, but I'd honestly be more straight up just to wrap it completely black. That's just what I think.
fair enough.
He's like, fuck you.
But yeah, so back to the car. So like I said, got the spoiler, got the grills, got the sequential side indicator markers, and then the first big thing that I did was an exhaust. As every typical typical P-plater.
And what exhaust did you get?
As an exhaust system or a made exhaust?
I went to an exhaust shop and it was I want it a little bit more louder.
Yeah.
Can you make a little bit of burbles?
Can I have that crack chin? Come on, bro.
Can I get a stage 5 tune? No.
Wait, what shop do you go to, by the way?
So it was an exhaust shop in Hornsby area. Though.
Oh, it's not a performance shop. It was
Not
just
a
an
just
exhaust
an
shop.
exhaust shop. So it wasn't a performance shop. Like I said, because I was 17 with no money, or like a little bit of money, but like very little money because I was working minimum wage. So your money is not much when it comes to car parts, and I think that's still a reality now.
Yeah, fair. So what did you get? A cat back, axle back, turbo?
So it was from the cat back. So all new working there. Didn't have a rim muffler that was removed. Had a twin exit style exhaust. So this was this 3 Series that I mentioned. I forgot to mention that it was a 325i. So 2.5 liter straight six. So if you know about BMW, they love 6 cylinders, straight sixes. That's the go-to thing. If you want to look at a 6-cylinder car, look at a BMW because they're one of the best. And
I know you're being paid to say this. No, I'm kidding.
It's not like it runs a BMW group.
No, they are. They're good. I love an inline six. Inline six, like 3 liter, 3.5 as well. Like I'm a fan.
you're probably not a big fan of it though because you're a Commodore person, aren't you? The Barra and all that stuff. You probably
No, I love all engines, bro.
like, I prefer an SS or something, maybe?
I drive all cars. Like,
Fair enough.
I'm at all. Don't get me wrong. The LS platform is one of the best engines ever made. That's why it gets swapped into every single car ever made because it's for what it is and the power it can give and how heavy it is. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's something that like barely goes wrong.
no,
something
definitely.
that you can't really say about BMWs.
I have a rebuttal to that actually. So as you would know, the new Supra A90 has a
Controversial car.
has a B58, which
Yeah.
is a BMW engine. So
Yeah.
that proves a lot of points. So I think a lot of people are scared of European cars because of the reliability, and that's the reason why they also hit depreciation quite a lot. Is because people are scared of the maintenance, people are scared of parts, people are scared of waiting long times. So I think overall, European cars have a bad rap for their high maintenance. And I think that's why people prefer, Japanese cars or the Australian cars, even though there's no more now. But
I actually heard a really good, like not analogy, but like a really good example the other day of like the difference between like JDM and Euro. And it was like JDM engineers know that people aren't going to service or treat their cars well. I'm talking about the general populace here, not obviously people like us who service your car like every 1,000 Ks or every time you do a track day or whatever. But like the general populace, right? So the JDM engineers will be like, we're going to make a car that can actually last the test of time and throw everything you can at it. And that's why like they're probably hailed as something that is just so incredible, like Toyota, because Toyota made amazing things and they just go and go and go and go. The Hilux and the Camry were proven points of that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like the German or European engineers, but we can pick on Germany. Deutschland engineers basically went, this car has to be serviced and done the exact way, the way that we said that has to be done, and it has to be done this way. And that's the problem with the general populace is they're not going to do it that way because they're lazy or they don't know or they know fuck all about cars or like whatever. And that's the problem. So you're right. The Germans and what they've actually decided to do with their cars and how amazing their cars are, if you look at after exactly the way that it's done and meant to be done, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But the general populace doesn't.
Yeah. And I think people get a bad rap because you get a bunch of posers, I guess, in a way where, the first owner who buys a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi is, the businessman, the lawyer, the doctor, buys the $200,000, $300,000 car. And then when their lease payment's up or when they start selling it, then it gets to the second owner who does a decent somewhat job. It's still a decently expensive car. And then it slowly progressively gets to the third, the fourth, the fifth.
Hills.
Yeah. And then that's when you start seeing the unreliable BMWs, Mercedes and Audis is because it's, mistreated. And there's the posers that drive the cars thinking like, oh, look at me, I'm driving a $200,000 car at one point, but it's a 20-year-old Mercedes or BMW now. But
That's a fair analogy. I get it. I like it.
so
Because I was going to hit you with a true or false question later on in the show. I was going to be like, BMWs that are older than 10 years are considered unreliable, true or false?
Like I said, it depends on the it depends on the ownership. It depends on the ownership. Like if you've taken care of it properly, the way it's supposed to be done, it's reliable.
Yeah.
And German engineering, as everyone always regards as one of the best. And you had back in the day, back in the early 70s, 80s, 90s, the Germans were known for engineering and the reliability of like the old Mercedes. They use them as taxis in Europe, and like they go to 1,900,000 kilometers as well. So I guess it's just the way it's maintained. And when you become the third or fourth, fifth owner, then you tend to not take it to the dealership anymore, and then you do it yourself, or you take it to a bloke that knows how to somewhat fix cars, or some people take it to an independent shop, an actual shop that specializes in European cars, which I do, which I think that's the best way to own it. You don't have the chaos of BMW maintenance and their labor, and that's the most killer part. Like for a service, it's like $2,000, by the way.
No car service is $2,000, bro.
But if you get a BMW, they'll give you $2,000, and you look at the list of what they changed. It's just the oil filter, changed the oil, and then basically they just treated you really nice. They gave you like a nice BMW courtesy car, and then they ask, do you want a coffee or a tea? And that's about it, pretty much. And you pay $2,000, and just like, okay, that's what I got.
You
and
heard it from the man here first.
The $2,000 service, true or false?
This is a minor service, by the way, but this is what the dealership will charge you. So you go to an independent shop, it'll be like $300 for a service.
Oh, that's just common knowledge, bro.
But that's the thing, right? The people who own these cars don't know about the cars.
No, they don't. I agree with you. They don't.
They're just like, okay, I'm going to take my car to the car brand that made it. So I'm going to go to BMW, I'm going to go to Mercedes because they made my car. They probably know what to do best. And then they go there, and then
they realize an apprentice worked on their car.
Yeah. And then they got charged $2,000, but they got a coffee at the end of it.
Yeah, 100%. Got to work late too.
But yeah, so early German reliability was quite good. I think a lot of ownerships have made the cars more unreliable, I guess, and then people get a bad rap because of that. Then came the mid-2000s German kind of issues where they started using plastic, they started using computers, they started using a lot more advanced diagnostic stuff, and then that's when it became more of a money pit. So like the internals were good, like the engine, the gearbox, everything was good, but then you'll have issues with modules, you would have issues with like electronics going off, and that's when that would be a big issue, and they haven't really stood the test of time now. Like back in the day, they were super advanced because that's what German engineering was really technologically advanced cars, and then now the technology has aged a bit. So the gremlins and the wiring and all that stuff has become bad. So that's what makes them unreliable, I'll say now.
I'd put the argument in front of this isn't just on European cars. I'd say this is like all cars right now at the minute. Like
definitely now, I think.
New cars, like this is why like new cars are getting such a bad rap. They're almost considered unreliable because like you can't fucking touch them, because if you fucking sit on the seat wrong, the fucking engine light goes on and you're sitting on your brand new fucking BMW M4 Comp and you're like, what the fuck? and that would aggravate me, and that's why I actually feel like the decline sales of cars. And I've got a man who sells cars in this room who could probably fucking attest to this, right? That I feel like the it's not just a European car thing. It's all cars that are having this problem right now, because it's just getting tougher and tougher and tougher to touch them. There are way more regulations and laws, and unfortunately, we're dictated heavily by what goes on in like America, and because
in
the
Europe,
cars that get sold over there, that they buy more of them, so that's what dictates. But if you look at California, they have like the strictest rules ever when it comes to fucking fumes, like EPA noises. Like, don't get me wrong, New South Wales is a nanny state and we're fucked here, but this is California. But like California, man, like it's fucked. But that's like a heavily dictating area of influence that seems to tell the rest of the world what you can and can't have. It's horrible. But I feel like it sneaks its way into BMW a lot, and Mercedes and Audi. like Audis especially. Because I feel like all you're left to do now is you get like a fucking integrated engineering flash tune for Audi, and that's about it. Like that's all you're working with here.
I mean, yeah, I have to say, like, the way BMWs are modified now compared to back in the day, a lot of them you'll see has been like stage 2 tune, which is just like an ECU flash, you know, or maybe they might have some internals done up, you know, maybe a downpipe. But that's really what new BMWs really need to now. And I think, like, you look at the new G series BMWs, and literally with a downpipe and a tune, you're already pushing like 600 plus horsepower, which is insane.
That's what I was going to bring up. It's like with these cars with so much technology in them and the development, because of the restrictions, do you think there's a lot of potential for them? Where there is today. Like you're saying, with so little that you could do, but the power, the fun, the performance you can get, there is pros to it.
There is, like, the spec sheet after a tune is like insane. Like, you see how much it's making, how much it was making before, and then like you see all those memes on, like, you just download a tune and off the internet and then build me 800 horsepower.
Download a tune off Reddit.
Bring back the forums.
But no, that's pretty much how new BMWs are modified now. Like, they'll still do visual stuff, and I have to say this, BMWs look best, or any European cars look best when it's just a little bit done up. Like I mentioned, the black grills, the little carbon fiber splitter, and the side skirts, and the diffuser, the little spoiler. That's all you need to do. Maybe some different wheels, and I think it looks pretty good already from the get-go. I think with Japanese cars, you have to put a lot more work, especially the older cars. Like, you get all the body kits, the wheels, the lights, the interior seats, and then all the, you know, get different gear shifter, different steering wheel, like all of that stuff you do. It was, I think they look good, just simple. I think some people tend to overdo it, which then makes it look a little bit bad. But I think the best way to do it, and it's probably the most affordable way to do it actually as well. Like, you probably don't need to put much money into putting into the car to make it look good. But then if you want it to stand out, then that's when you obviously have to put more money in. But
That's
if you just wanted to look like, oh wow, that looks nice on the driveway, or that looks nice on the street, or like good photos, and if you look at all the ones that are like people who got on social media, they're all like pretty simply done up. They're not like crazy wide bodies. So I think
bring out the crazy wide.
Sometimes, so you're saying sometimes
simplicity,
simple, clean,
yes,
is the way to go.
Yeah, and I think that's the same thing with the JDM cars. Like, if you look at the Chasers, the Honda EKs and EGs, like when they're like the white ones and they're all nicely done up, and that's a nice simple like smooth body kit. It looks quite nice. Like, it's simple, sometimes looks quite good, and I think sometimes some people overdo it. Yeah.
Have you ever worked on a BMW, done up a BMW? Yeah, you have, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I just, for the sake of me, I remember the Mercedes, but I was just thinking of if there's a BMW one that you've done.
Oh yeah, as a lot of our clients, they don't care about the social media stuff.
That's true. I mean, like I said,
especially the European market, they care about what they like. They don't care about what other people say.
Yeah.
So they do what they do, and they just enjoy it to themselves. And that,
those are my favorite. They're my favorite people.
That's why I prefer to do with them.
Well, you should definitely pay close attention, because we're building a BMW at my work. So we got a BMW M2, and we're throwing pretty much everything at it because we sell all the parts for BMW. So it's like, we're just going to go crazy ham on all the aftermarket parts as we can. We already put like...
Is this the M2 normal one? The N55 single turbo one?
Honestly, I couldn't fucking tell you. It's not my car. It's Work's car, but yeah.
This is where I'm just going to be telling you everything about BMW. You're just going to go over your head, just like...
No, but like...
so.
But no, F engine, like, it's cool. It's, what was it, 2018, 2019 model? I can't remember. But it's sick. Like, it's cool. It's a cool car. I like the wheels. I like everything about it stock, but all the stuff that we're going to go to it, like, we just got the whole body kit in. We've got the air intake. We've got an IPE exhaust on it. It sounds fucking gnarly. There's just so much stuff that's going to be thrown at it, and I can't wait to take that on the track. It's going to be so much fun to drive on the track.
He cares all about the driving. He doesn't care what goes into it. I just want it to drive.
Yeah. Well, I do want to drive it, because I'm worried, just like we sort of brought up before, I'm worried that, like, you do all this stuff to these newer cars, things go wrong way quicker than it does on like an older car. Like, it's infuriating.
Yeah, I think like so. I own a 320 now. So I had the two Mercedes, the two BMW E90s. So the current one that I have now, which is outside, which you guys might have seen, is a blue E90 320. I bought that one during the peak of COVID, I guess. So I sold the grey E90 325, M Sport, everything fully loaded. Made a bit of money on that because it's COVID time. And then I put it into this E90, which I got for 10 grand. Mm-hmm. And it was mint. So it was owned by an old lady and it had only done 50,000 Ks, which is like the typical like comment that you see on every single car sales post, like owned by an old lady driver and they driven to the shops. But this was actually the case. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So it's actually owned by an old lady.
low key, she's actually like a professional race car driver.
But yeah, so that car spent most of its life in Brisbane and then came down here in more recent years. I bought that in 2022 February, and now I have put on, and now it's at 98,000 Ks. So I've put in quite a bit since owning it. And what I've done to it, so I've done an exhaust on it, same thing done with it. Actually sounds all right. So the 320 on the E90 is a 4-cylinder 2-liter, naturally aspirated. Mm-hmm. So didn't have the supercharger fun or the little whine that you get. But it was still good. So I got coilovers for it. They were silver Neo Max S's. I put on bigger 335i E92 wheels. So it made it sit a bit more out. The wheels are a bit more to the fenders.
More aggressive, yeah.
A bit more aggressive. And then I changed the headlights to the F series style, like angular square LED headlights. And I think that's what I've done to it so far. Is there anything else that's going to go into it? Not sure. I mean, I would like to, but just like the part of it's only worth this much, and if I put more into it, am I going to get it back? Which you probably won't.
Businessman on here.
It's just the BMW thing, you know.
That's not why you do it, bro. You do it because you love cars and you want it to be sick.
But
or is the question there's a next car coming?
There is a next car coming. That's the reason why. And because I'm on my P's, I would rather put all that money to something that's more appropriate to be done up.
What are we looking at?
Okay, so I've got a few cars in my mind. Quite a few. I probably could go on for 2 hours.
It's going to be some completely off topic. It's going to be like Evo,
Alfa Romeo.
Actually, I'll limit to 5 cars. All right.
Hit us up. Let's go.
Okay. So
give us a clue. Let's guess it.
MX-5 Miata.
No, not MX-5, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Though I do like them, but no, I wouldn't get MX-5. Look at me. I'm like too big. I'd be like, a big guy in a small car. It'd be a bit funny.
Bro, I'm too big, but I've seemed to make it work. You just got to throw in new race seats and you're fucking sweet. It works. Go on.
Okay.
Actually, what's your guess? Go ahead.
Yeah, you guys guess. How about that?
Give us 3 clues.
I mean, I run the BMW club, so that's probably going to like give you. That's going to give you the majority.
Volkswagen.
You did hear about the Mercedes, so that's one of them.
Yeah.
Are you going to guess the make and the model?
It's a BMW. You didn't guess the make.
You already know the make. Okay, so
it's going to be a V8.
That is one of them on the list.
Yeah, I thought so.
So I'll start off. E92 LCI, 335i. So the LCI, DCT, those are really nice cars. I always like the way they look, and I think they look timeless, especially the LCI ones. And with the DCT, it's actually from the M3. So, it's got the 3-liter turbo DCT. So potential for doing up as well, but then also like something that's a bit more powerful and a bit more nicer. Mm-hmm. And then looking at the newer 340i's, so the B58, F30 gen. And then if my career takes off, then maybe, and I'm struggling on the streets, then maybe F80 M3, E92 M3.
Okay. And if you had to, or at the end of the day, just pick one.
Pick one. Oh, I think it'd have to be like the F80 M3 or F82 M4. I think it looks great. It's still somewhat modern. It's still very powerful, still very capable. And they've dropped down in prices even more, so it's like tempting.
It seems like you like the 3 Series. Why?
Okay, so BMW, so this is an interesting way. So like BMW, they've always like, so Mercedes went from like S-Class to E-Class to C-Class to like moving down the ladder. Well,
Yeah.
BMW was more like 3 Series, 5 Series, 7 Series. Like they went up the ladder in a way.
Yeah.
So the 3 Series has always been like the car that every BMW driver owns. Like it's the one that's still somewhat like light. It's still got enough space to carry people. Has the most history. It was used in racing and all that. And then, yeah, like it slowly built up from, you know, the E23 3 Series, and then went to the E30, then the E36, the E46, E90, F30, G20. So that's the current one. Yeah, so it's always been 3 Series. Like I said, the lightness, 50-50 weight, that's another thing, rear-wheel drive, straight six. So, like,
You can't say no to that.
you can't say no. It's already a good recipe for fun.
Yeah.
And that's why you see them on the track now. Like, you still see people with E36s, like, in Eastern Creek,
Yeah.
driving around with them, like, 'cause
Brakes always failing. Yeah. I was gonna bring it up at some point in this episode. I don't know how much you get to the track, bro, but obviously BMW is a very good platform, and you crazy buffoons love doing every form and genre of motorsport, which I love. So like the fact that your platform speaks to so many different genres of racing is 100% a testament to like what it can do. But fuck me dead if I'm lying. Every single time we go to the track and there's BMWs, probably more so the new ones, I know you guys push it. Every single time, I reckon 2 or 3 cars brake failure. Immediate. Like, it's actually unbelievable. And fuck, some of these people been there in these times that I'm talking about. We've watched it happen. And I'm like, why is it every single time we come here, there's a BMW? I look out for it now because I'm like, he's going to do it? Yeah.
you're probably going to be like, oh, is that person from BMW Owners Sydney?
No, I love it. It's just sick. I'm just like, why? Why does this happen? Get rid of those stupid drill holes.
I think a lot of them, they just rock with the standard cars. Like I said, BMWs, when you buy like an M3 or M4, M5, it's already like set from the factory, the get-go. Like you don't need to put much into it. You don't need to do much to it because, I sound like a typical like snob now, but like, the German engineers have made it perfectly the way it's supposed to be. So it's perfect for the track. It's made for the track. It's made for the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of them, they sometimes cheapen out on some options here and there. So like the brakes maybe probably didn't get the carbon ceramics, which are $15,000 option, by the way. For some of
You
them.
should get it. Or go to KS Racing and get yourself some brakes.
That's also your option.
But yeah, so don't know about the brake stuff, but I haven't seen that many, but I have seen them hitting around on the wet pans and the drift at Eastern Creek, and
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
We watched them on the skid pan. What event did we go to? Where was it? They were at the skid pan that day.
I think we were there just for a show and shine, and there was a full just BMW only wet pan.
Yeah, it was fucking sick.
And it was like all the M2s. I think it was an M2 day. It was
Yeah.
all the M2s there. That was it.
Yeah, it was
just-
honestly, bro, it was like so much fun just to watch, and they were just having, they were all having a good time. Like everyone's coming out of their cars, like smiling and laughing and high-fiving each other. I was like, you guys are like really friendly, eh?
like get back to like I said with the cheaper BMWs. So like people still think they're expensive. Like non-car people will know that they still think they're the $200,000, $150,000, $100,000 cars. But when after a few years and after they've been used a bit, they drop down in price quite a lot. And you look at some BMWs, like you can see some for like 10 grand, maybe even more. And when you put into perspective, like you're getting a rear-wheel drive car, you're getting a 6-cylinder engine, you're getting something that's got somewhat like motorsport pedigree. Like the thing about BMWs, like even the basic models still had like some kind of like driving focus. The newer ones I feel like have lost it now. Like the F onwards, I'll say G series more so, but F series they started to lose a bit more of it. Like they became front wheel drive and no longer rear-wheel drive, and they became 4 cylinders and all that. So,
Yeah, the backlash on that was quite tough, wasn't it?
I mean, BMW is known for rear-wheel drive. So when they went for the 2 Series front-wheel drive, everyone was like, oh.
Yeah, Mercedes weren't doing too well on that one either. How do you lose market share in a day?
So like I said, for 10, 15 grand, like what else can you get there on the market? Like if you think about all the typical Japanese cars, like the Silvias, the Skylines, you know, the Supras, all those typical like JDM drift cars that you saw back in the day, they're all gone up in price. Like even the MX-5, the NAs, they're going up in price as well. You can't get them for less than $5 grand like you used to be. They're all like 20 grand plus now. So
don't get me wrong, like you can.
I'm sure you can find a rough one or something like that.
No, there's fucking tons. Like literally, like $5 to $8 grand. That's why I bought one, and we're filming a series on it because
Is it an NA or an NB?
It's an NB, but there's heaps of NAs who are there because typically what the NA people do is they actually buy the NA and then they grab an NB engine and put it in the NA. So it's like that platform itself has always just been like an affordable car, but I understand what you're saying, like in terms of like the cars that are out there and what you're getting bang for buck really at the end of the day. Like it's hard to actually compare
similar cars,
that difference. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's the disparity between the two, or disparity between all, like is insane. Like, would you say the same thing? Like, in terms of like what you can actually buy for 10, 15 grand?
I would say so, yeah. Because with that price, like there's not much available.
No. Like if you're a car enthusiast, there isn't much. Like all the ones that you dream of seeing, like when I was getting into cars, like, Fast and Furious and, Top Gear and all the Gran Turismo and Forza and Need for Speed, like all those cars that you saw, they were at one point obtainable back in the 90s, and then now they're unobtainable now. Like you look at the R34, and then there's like 200 grand. So. But not saying that like BMWs there isn't any special ones. Like we've had quite a few special BMWs actually come to the meet. We're still looking for the more older ones. I have seen like a 3.0 CSL. So this is the first BMW CSL ever made. There is a few in Australia, but most of them are in museums or in some collector's collection, so very hard to see. And then the BMW M1, which is the supercar, which I think is probably one of BMW's best cars ever made. Haven't had those come to the meet. So I think the more cooler, rarest cars that have come, like you got the 8 Series with the pop-ups.
Yep.
And that was like so there's only 2 BMWs made with pop-ups. And there was the M1, which was the supercar, and then the 8 Series with the pop-up headlights. So that was an old school one. And then like the more rare ones, we had the E46 M3 CSL, the M4 GTS, the M4 CSL, the new one that came out, and the E92 GTS. So these are like the really rare track cars. So like if you want to compare it to Mercedes terms, like Black Series, so like the more heavily track focused, the GT3 RS, like the more rare number track focused cars.
This guy would have been losing his mind on that barn find that I found the other day, remember?
What did you find?
The fucking 7.5 litre, what car was it? I forget the name of the actual engine in the car, but it was fucking insane. Like proper barn find. Like there was stuff over it covered, like complete, like dust level that thick. Like, and I was like, that's a sick car. I know what's in there. And I just looked at like all the valves, just like V12. I was like, this is amazing. Hadn't started in like 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa, the things I would do to take this car. But I suppose what I think what like would be a good idea is to maybe just kill some old myths that BMWs that sort of get a little bit of hate on, because I feel like maybe you could cover them. You kind of like have alluded to a few of the things before we touched on, like obviously like affordability and reliability, but like the old saying of BMWs having an oil leak. Do you think that saying kind of faded away and has died away with the newer cars?
I think it's still somewhat apparent, to be honest. It's still there. There's still like oil leak issues. That's pretty common. Same with the CB guys. I'm sure they can relate.
He had to throw a little scapegoat there.
He's got a lot of those.
Yeah, I think it's like I said. I think the stuff nowadays, like the BMWs, they've definitely improved the game on reliability. They've definitely focused it, and I think when they had developed the new Supra with Toyota, they worked on their reliability and took ideas from what Toyota did, and they've now made like the new BMWs really solid, I think. I just think, we don't know what's going to happen 10, 15 years time. And like back when we saw the early, 2000 BMWs, we thought, oh, wow, it'd be all right. But then technology and the electronics killed it. So we don't know if that's going to be a repeat of history again for the new ones. And they're too new to find out what will happen. So I guess we just have to find out for that. But
there is a lead to it. What do you think of all the new electrics that they're bringing out now?
Okay, if you want me to say I'm not a fan of electric cars.
Give us your full opinion.
Okay, I'm not a fan of electric cars. I think they're okay if you do short, like grocery shopping or doing little errands.
Yeah.
I think they work in Europe. I guess because Europe is, like you think about the size of Europe, right? And you compare it to the size of Australia, you can get to 3 countries in Europe and you're just only to like Melbourne. So I think it doesn't work in Australia. I think hybrid works well in Australia, I have to say. Like the new hybrid Corollas and Camrys, they do like 1,200, 1,400 kilometers range out of tank, which is quite good. And then you have like, the Holy Trinity cars that came out back in 2013, the 918, the LaFerrari, P1, those were hybrids. I think that really like, showed people like, hybrids are not like the Toyota Prius that you think you see on the road. They can actually be somewhat capable. And as you were mentioning with the XM, that's actually a hybrid. Yeah. And you think, oh, it's probably going to be a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder, but it's actually a V8 twin turbo hybrid. So
isn't the number one car on the Nürburgring is the 1.8 litre V6 that's supercharged?
I don't care about hybrids. I care about electric. Hybrids is a different topic. Hybrids, we can get away with it, but
I think so. I think the electric cars, I'm not a big fan of them, and I think if you look at what's going on the market, all the European guys, they're backpedaling, I think. I don't know if you've seen on the news, Germany, they're kind of refusing a lot with the electric force on the cars, because obviously Germany produces all of, VW, Mercedes, Porsche, Audi, all of those cars all come from Germany. So having them forced to electric cars is, killing their own country in a way. So
because imagine the M3, like what? M3.
No, I can't. I'd set it on fire.
Yeah, so
it kind of loses its meaning. It's not called an M3 anymore. I think that's the thing. That's like people who are vegan and then they go out and try and make fake bacon. Why don't you just not call it bacon? Like, it's not. Just call it something else. Why do you need to call it that? Like, but it's the exact same thing. It's the same premise. It's not an M3. So just don't make it an M3. Like, make your electric car, but just do it fucking some other way. Like,
they're just banking off the name. And I think if you look at like the Mark E Ford Mustang, the SUV one, they're just banking off the name of the Mustang.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm driving a Mustang, but then you're like, I drive the SUV one, the electric one.
Yeah, and I will never buy it. So like, but that's what I'm saying. It's kind of ruining a brand. You're ruining a reputation. You're ruining a badge. Like, that's like, even if you are Mercedes and you're coming back and you're like, oh, we're going to do a 4-cylinder now and it's going to do X, Y, Z. And you're like, no. Same thing happened to Toyota Land Cruiser. Yeah. We're not doing the V8s anymore. And everyone was like,
all the Toyota people I saw were not happy with that.
Go get fucked. Like,
but yeah.
God, how to make an Australian angry. Take away, ruin his Toyota Land Cruiser.
Only V8 left. No, let's get it out of here.
Yeah, so I think hybrids, they're good, but electrics, not a fan of. There are some like exceptional electric ones, like you see the Rimac, which is like crazy. Like what, 0 to 100 in like 1 something second? Like,
they're all ridiculous.
It's insane. And that's when you see the issue nowadays when everyone's got all the Teslas and all the electric cars. They put all this like crazy power into them, but then they don't know how to drive.
There we go.
We've said this on many times that people should sit a proper test to drive a car. That's
like when you get a Tesla, like I've test drove the Tesla Model 3 and the Y, and they give you like a little runner, like, okay, this is what it is. You don't have to hit the brake. It can stop by itself, and then they just like, okay, off you go for a drive. And then you're like, okay, and then you hit the accelerator and just go like that. You go, like the Fast and Furious scene where you like, turn the knob and just goes like that. Literally like that, but in the electric way.
Yeah, it should absolutely not be driven by
because they're even P-plate legal.
No, they're not people illegal in Australia. There's some people that have done like the exemptions, and they've done exemptions on M3s and M4s as well. Like,
yeah, I didn't want to.
It's the only car that I can drive. It's the only car. I have to get to work. I work at McDonald's in Liverpool, but I live in the Central Coast.
But I think. Yeah, like, and then you think about the average driver who's driving it, right? It's probably some mum or some like, older dad or whatever that's buying it. And then they don't realize it's all of a sudden instant power and torque, and then they have accidents and all of that. Like, it's...
Bro, there was an accident. I'm not sure if it was still there when you came down or how you got here today, but as I was coming down just after Forest Way, like coming down the hill past the Maccas, there was a fucking crash right there. Right at the traffic lights with an electric car. I was like, fuck.
Oh.
Auto brake came into action. Doesn't have your brake problems.
Don't, Tony, don't. You dirty dog. You're a dirty dog. Oh, I feel bad for those people. I hope they're okay. But,
sorry. Yeah.
I just, I don't know. We could talk. We have talked about this topic before.
I think the main thing for us car people is the noise. I think we love the noise our engine makes, the roar, hitting the red line, all of that. You don't get that in an electric car. And I think we hate it because of that, and then we hate it because we've been forced to kind of move along and try and get an electric car. And then all the brands are now trying to push these hybrid electric cars because they've been forced to by governments and overseas influence.
Whereas I'm like fully fine with hydrogen.
Hydrogen actually
so fine with a fucking bomb in my car that could go off.
They actually do have hydrogen cars in Japan. They do. Yeah.
Oh, I'm fully aware. If you didn't know, Holden actually patents the hydrogen model back in 1978 or something like that.
Wow.
They had a hydrogen car. They've just been holding the license for fucking years. I don't know why, but GM obviously now owns it, so that's how it's sitting. But regardless, you could fucking make some noise if you figured it out with the hydrogen.
Yeah.
That would be fucking dope.
And the best part is that you just get water vapor out of the exhaust. That's it. You don't even get...
The greenies can't even be angry anymore that loud pipes save lives because it's so clean.
But yeah, like even the mining for the lithium ions and the batteries, that's also another like topic where is that really environmentally friendly? Yep. But
that's the same
I won't dive into that, but yeah.
That's the same with any type. No, we shouldn't. But like that's the same with like any type of manufacture process. All these parts and materials have to go from one place to another, regardless.
Yeah.
It's just whether something is ethical. Of doing it is the next thing, which I haven't really heard people talk about because there's the environmental difference and the social difference and all that type of stuff, which, totally understand what you're saying. The argument, what is happening. Yeah. So I think someone needs to tackle that topic. I know Greta Thunberg tries her hardest, but at the same time, if it's on paper there. By the way, I'm not supporting electric. Like I'm just saying, like someone needs to start talking about that particular topic, so it's actually people get it, people understand it, just in layman's terms. Like, just don't make it difficult. Just go, this is the problem. Okay, we shouldn't do that. Conversation over. And on that bombshell, no, I'm kidding.
Full stop right there.
No, we have. Like, look, I'm not going to hammer on to the point just mainly because we've spoken about electric cars before.
We talk about it like on every episode. That's my question for every guest.
Okay.
Give us your take.
But do you actually have questions for us?
Why did you guys start Car Culture Australia? There we go. The dying question. I'm sure you've probably had it multiple times as well. But why did you guys start it?
Oh, man, I'll summarize it. there wasn't anything like what we're trying to build in Australia. It's everywhere in America, everywhere in Europe, everywhere.
In every country.
Everywhere but here for everything. Even Russia has a fucking amazing, like, just scene. But no one here is doing multimedia car production stuff for cars. That's really funny with a group of people that all to share all this love for every single car model make out there. Like, no one's doing it.
I'll correct that. There is a couple, but it's very minimal. It's very minimal.
Yeah. And we just decided that we have the opportunity to make something that not a lot of people have the opportunity to have, which, as you've seen walking through here, we have a workshop, we have a studio, we have tools, we have literally everything that a lot of people would fucking do everything for.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, fuck it, let's just do it. Like, let's just go. If we have the opportunity to do all this stuff, let's see what we can do, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, bro, our goal is just to be media content for Australia. Like, I realize people from around the world can watch it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But my aim is for Australia.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, and bringing us all together and bringing back the heart and soul and feel of what these cars are before it all goes away.
No, definitely. And like that's kind of brings back to my point about the BMW club as to why I started it. Like I mentioned, that's where I grew up. Like started off with the social media, took over. So we're actually now one of the bigger BMW groups in Sydney and probably mostly Australia, I think now. We got sponsored by North Shore BMW as well. So they run Chatswood, Atomic and Mossman, North Shore BMW. And we're sponsored by Atomic Racing, which is a independent workshop. Yeah, so I think for the club, definitely want to get more people involved. Like I said, it's mostly me, so it's kind of like a one-man team, but I do want to expand into merchandise and all of that stuff. I have ideas, but maybe looking for the time to find it, that's the only issue.
If you figure that out, bro, let us know. Time is my fucking enemy.
But I have to say that, like, without social media, I think it definitely has helped me grow as a person a bit. And then meeting new people. Like, one thing I've learned about starting the car club was meeting new people, meeting their stories. Like, you know, this BMW or this car was from, you know, my great-grandfather. You know, we're restoring it now. I want to, you know, bring pride to his name. And just all those, like, heart-touching stories that you hear, just like, this is what the car community should be about. Like, you know, people coming together, you know, showing the interests in cars and bring like everyone together. And that's why I like what you guys are doing, because that's what you guys are doing. You're bringing everyone together, especially from Australia. So like I said, it's BMW Owners Sydney, but I do want to expand. So I've met people in both Victoria and Melbourne and in Brisbane and Queensland. And I don't know if you've seen online the M Invasion stuff.
No. What's that?
Okay, so
Is that like the doughy pages and like everyone doing the cool stuff in the BMWs? Or no? That's a different one.
I mean, there's probably some people that do.
No, that's fast and loose.
There's some people that do, like, you know, the stuff that's not legal and they shouldn't be doing, and I do not condone it. And even at my meets, I do not condone any hooning. All right, but the M Invasion Australia, that's what I want to do. So basically, bring all the Brisbane people, all the Victorian people, bring the Canberra people, bring all the Sydney people all into one, and then just have one big BMW event. That's what I want to do. But
you know the people who can help you pull that off is all these fuckers who go to the track and do all these swamps, man. Because I tell you what, the people who band together there and do that they're relentless.
Yeah.
Like to get on board with them, they'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Because it's so honestly, bro, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The people who do this really well is the Hyundai people. Like Hyundai, or is it Enfest or whatever it's called?
Yeah, Enfest, yeah.
They say Enfest, but like all the Hyundais are allowed in. So but for example, like Andrew Price, who runs that, right? Andrew Price is a racer for them. He's also just a fucking legend. Dude, they did that at Eastern Creek and it was like insane. Like the amount of cars and putting that all together. And like, so he's from Queensland. I don't know if he's from Gold Coast or Brisbane. Sorry, Andrew. But like he came up there, so he brought everyone down to make that happen. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like look at the Hyundai page and like you'll get a few ideas and just be like, all right, we're gonna do that for BMW. Like it's fucking sick.
No, definitely. I think it's a growing market. Like, I think the reason why the page grew up so fast was because it was a niche. I think, like, if you think about it now, there's a lot of car clubs, and especially more recently, I think there's a lot more car clubs out there. So I think what helped the page grow a bit more was that it was a niche, and then now since it started as a niche, it's expanding more, and there's other cars coming and all of that. I mean, there'll be some people that'll be like, oh no, I always wanted to just be BMW or whatever, but I mean, in reality, like, it's always good, but then you're always going to reach a maximum, right? Like, I feel like, especially for BMWs, you're going to have maybe the same BMWs or different styles of BMWs, but it's going to be mostly the same people coming from Sydney. So if you expand it to other cars, you meet more people, meet more new people, and then people who were interested in BMWs maybe now want to buy a BMW because they see the community that's involved and what's been started. So yeah, I think that's the way it's been, and I think that's the way it should be. So
that's what we'll do it for. Where's the 1 year plan for the club? Or
the 1 year plan, I think, like I said, that M invasion style in Australia, because like you guys have seen, I think online, like a lot of stuff is mostly in Europe or in America.
Yeah.
Australia, it's a shame because we say that we have a good car culture, but I don't think it's as good, maybe, or maybe it's not as like relaxed as the American or European ones. Like, you know, our laws that we have for the cars are pretty shitty, so you can't really
in New South
enjoy.
Wales, anyway.
You can't enjoy much.
yeah,
But yeah, I think, you know, having something in Australia, something local to home, you know, I think it'd be good. Like I said, want to expand it as big as it can, maybe even international. Maybe even get reached out by BMW even itself. Instead of just the dealership, maybe even BMW itself.
Yeah. No, you better start practicing your German.
Yeah.
So it's more focused around a community, or is it more like you're looking at event based?
I think both. Like, it's an event where people can come, people can enjoy looking at cars. So like, what I want to do with the group is I want to make it where people can come have a look at cars that, you know, you don't see on the road. Like the recent meets that we've had in January, we had, you know, Lamborghini Aventadors, Huracans, McLarens, all of that, Porsche GT3s, like all these, you know, really rare cars that you don't see on the road. I mean, you may see them here and there, but like having them at one spot, I think like this is where you can get people to kind of come. And yeah, I mean, you got the rare BMWs, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
So just seeing all these rare, you know, $500,000, $1 million cars, like, I think it's a good way to reach people. Like, you know, as kids, we were probably, you know, looked at poster cars of like Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and then, you know, you might have a meet and some parent who's interested in cars brings their kid, and then they see like a Lamborghini or a Porsche or a BMW, and then they're like, oh, I want to get one, or like, this is my favorite car, or something like that. So I think it influences a lot of people, and having a good community is what it's there. Like the Facebook group, it's kind of like a bit of everything. So it's like a sales page. So there's people selling cars on there. There's people who need help with their cars. There's people who have problems with their cars that, you know, like any shops or anyone who can help me look at this issue. Yeah, I think. And then the meat side, so there's a community side. So like there's so many things that you can do, so many things you can branch off into. Yeah.
So essentially, it's a place for all.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, so in car meets, European guys, there's not many European cars. If you know, there's always the JDM cars, the Australian domestic cars, and then you've got maybe a few, you know, European cars here and there, but, you know, there isn't many European cars. And to have one where it's the European cars as the majority and the Japanese cars are the minority, it's kind of like a table turn. Like, you know, we got something too as well.
You know what would be epic? If we got a sim with BMW Owners Sydney, get you and your whole entire group to come show us on our May event. Bring all those Europeans out.
Oh yeah,
because we were talking about that sort of specific like point that you've made there, like having all these cars together, there always seems to be an imbalance, right?
Yeah.
We're obviously all about balance. We love it all, and we want it all to come back into one scene. That's what we're about. We're not about segregation and making things just one genre, one platform.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not our style. So we've got a huge May event coming up, which is probably not a bad thing to shout out. Like considering the date, like it's not far off. So I was just like, may as well.
Yeah, I would be like interested 100%, and I think there needs to be more cars out there. I mean, like I said, I've expanded it to other cars, so Japanese and all that stuff can come now. So like I said, it's not always supposed to be focused on one, but it did help grow the page at the start, initial. So if you guys are doing an event where you want some cars, 100%, message me, DM me, add me as a collaborator on Instagram, share it, I'll tag it, make it real, anything like that. You know, I can get you all the nice high-end cars, the nicely done-up BMWs. I think
I'm going to hold you to that.
I'm sure I can get, you know, some good cars. I mean, we've got an event.
Any car's a good car here. Like we don't mind if it's 100K, 200K. I don't care.
Got some pretty,
1 mil.
We've got some pretty gnarly cars coming to the event.
I think on social media-wise, like exotic cars, BMWs, like I think they do very well online, social media wise, like on the page and everything like that. On like social media, TikTok, Instagram Reels, you always see like, you know, the BMWs like skidding or all that stuff on the, you know, the memes, like the trends on TikTok that you see. You always see all the, you know, BMWs, Audis, Mercedes on social media. Like, you know, I like to say like they're probably the more current one now. Like you think about it, like back in the day, in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was all like, you know, the Japanese cars. And now I think that it's slowly becoming more European cars, because you think about it now, like current Japanese market cars, they're coming back now, but that whole like mid 2000 period, like late 2013, 2015, there wasn't really much. Like Honda wasn't making the NSX anymore. They still made the Type R Civic, but, you know, they weren't making the Prelude. They weren't making, you know, the S2000 anymore, and then Toyota wasn't making the Sleeker anymore, or the Supra and all that. So like, and then Nissan wasn't making the Skyline anymore. So I think it was like a period where the shift kind of happened, where because all the European cars were still making, you know, there's like M5s, M3s, M4s, all that stuff still happening during that time. So it kind of shifted between where now the European cars, I think, have taken over. And that's what you see more nowadays because of social media and TikTok and all that. You see a lot more European cars on the side of things. But then, you know, when you come to the actual meets, there isn't many European cars. It's just mostly, you know, all the cars that you've seen on movies and TV shows, and, you know, the cars that people got into cars because, you know, Fast and Furious, you know, all the racing games. I played almost every single Need for Speed game. And, you know,
sounds like we'll have to get you back for a race.
Gran Turismo, Mario Kart.
That or Need for Speed Underground too. I will fuck anyone up in that game.
Bro, back in the day on the little PSP, bro, I was on that every day. No, only reason I said that because when I got into, like, when I just started getting into cars and I had the Mustang, all my mates had a BMW.
Yeah.
I go to any car cruise, any car meet, it was just BMW. And I was like the odd one out in it. And then they kept giving me all the reasons why I should get one. That's why I want the BMWs to come back in my life. Fucking come out and cruise again. Tell me how it's done, because let's see who can do it now.
Well, I invite you guys over to come to our events. I 100% recommend it.
100%.
Let us know. We've got one person in the group that's got a BMW. He could rep the whole group.
I mean, you guys,
and it's brand new.
I think the M2, that one. Yeah, I know.
Bro.
He's come to our last meet actually.
Did he?
Yeah. I think I know.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Chris. Yeah. He's selling it though.
Yeah, a house sounds way better.
But how did that event go though?
It was good. That was with Detail Auto House. So.
Yeah.
You know them, the
Jason,
neighbors with you in Brookvale.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had some really rare cars come.
He used to also have a really nice Supra.
Yeah, now he's got an M3.
Yeah.
He's gone back to... But yeah, that event, we had a M3 E46 CSL. So that car now has gone up to maybe like 300,000 plus, 350,000. And the mint one, like a really low kilometer, can probably be like 400, 500,000, easy. And we had one of those come. We had a Nissan GTR R35 come. We had a few R33s, you know, Chasers, you know, all those like typical JDM cars. We had those come as well. And yeah, I think like it's good having this variety in, because people who come might also not want to see BMWs all the time. They might want to see something different. So I think it's good to have that stuff there. As I mentioned before, like I think when the shift happened, everyone was getting BMWs, European cars, and like if you look at like back in when like the Germans were making cars, if you look at the early 2000s, they were crazy making cars. Like you had a V10 in a 5 Series sedan, you had a V10 in a SUV from Volkswagen, and then you had like a W12 in a like a Passat, basically a Phaeton, and then you had a V10 in an Audi S8, you had a V10 twin turbo in an RS6. Like you can imagine, this is where the rap of unreliability comes, because 10 cylinders and then twin turbos, it's a recipe for something, definitely.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that's where I think, you know, all the people grew up and like fell in love with those cars because they were doing crazy things, right? Like you saw the Japanese cars, they all did like 6 cylinders and 4-cylinder turbos and all that. But then you had the Europeans with like V10s and V8s and V12s, just like NA or power, like. And yeah, now you don't get that anymore. And it's all been downsizing. You saw the new C63, the hybrid.
No, don't talk don't.
Not even a C63 anymore.
I'll play with one soon.
The badge meant 6.3 or 6.2, but 6.3, and now it's not even that. It's 2 liter.
It's got a little bit of blue.
So I'm saying, stop stop using the badge. Stop, make a different car. Call it something else. Like, it's hurting your brand.
Yeah.
It is.
But like man, look, at the end of the day, we're in a very hurtful situation because of the way the world is going at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And all these cars are going electric. There is no more Type R after this. The last one came out. Like, it's done now. It's electric. Like, there's so many shifts from so many different genres now. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because we all got to face the music. I'm just hoping we just fucking bury it down in a hole, and then the wave of hydrogen comes over. But yeah, that's why they need people, I guess, like us to keep the dream alive.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that May event that you're talking about, like, I'm serious. Let's do something. I'm keen.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say, I was going to ask you guys a question, actually.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of people who put little M badges and like AMG badges on their car?
Who aren't an M?
No, so you see like a C200 AMG.
Don't do it.
Or a M320i or a 325.
You can love something. That doesn't mean you need to put it on your car. That's like someone, for example, like for any car, but for like someone, for example, who has like a Holden SV6 and then slaps a fucking HSV badge on it. It's like, bro, I just don't know why. Like, I don't know why you do that. Putting badges on your car is like it's just not something you have to go out of your way to do it. So like, I just don't really
order on
get it.
eBay.
Yes, it is.
I remember this hate. Like, I feel bad for bringing this up, but there was this hate this kid got one time on Facebook. Obviously, the keyboard warriors are out in full array. This kid was like, I think he was trying to sell his car, but it was just like an SV6, but it had like all these badges on it, like SS, HSV, it had red line, it had all this stuff, and this kid just got brutally it wouldn't surprise me if he quit social media after this. Like, he got absolutely annihilated, and honestly, you feel bad because you're just watching on the sidelines. And while some of it's funny, the other half, you're just like, bro, why'd you do that? Like, you knew what you were asking for when you put that up there. Like, don't do that.
I think, like, that's when I come back to, like, the poser things. Like I mentioned, when people buy the older car, like the older BMWs, and still think they're the expensive cars, and then they put the M badges and they think, oh, you know, people think I've got an M3. But then the people who we know that's not an M3, will say, you know, that's not an M3, or like, you know, even you guys can tell like an M320i doesn't exist.
but then to them, putting your foot on the gas pedal, you're about to find out, and it just makes you look like an idiot. Like,
yeah, I think, I don't know, you're fooling people that don't care.
We're talking about badges. Do you like the McDonald one though?
The McDonald's, I have to say, it's pretty funny. Like, I've seen it on the M's, like they got the McDonald's logo for the M4, and then they put the McDonald's logo in the AMG part. Yeah. It's pretty funny. So
that one's acceptable?
That's acceptable, I say. I got a question for you guys. If you think this is considered up badging, if you got like, say, you know, a M3 or like a normal 3 Series, and then you put like an M3 body kit on it, and then it's got like the similar like looks and all that, and then it comes with like M badges. Would you put the M badges on it?
No,
But
the
it
only
looks like an
time that
M3
it's
though.
justified, in my opinion, is when you engine swap that motherfucker with all the right things that need to be swapped out.
Okay,
But
because
arguably, I'd say that's funnier. Like we know a guy who's straight up swapped his, put a V8 in his V6, but his number plates still say SV6, and it's just funnier now because it's almost like a sleeper to the point where people are like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this guy up, and he's like, nah.
yeah, like I think that's where it gets questionable because people still say, oh, it's still up badging, but then it looks like it in a way, like you got the same bumper and maybe the same like skirts and all that. So I think it's still up badging. So glad you guys still think it's the same. Some people would disagree on that, but
It depends on who's looking at it. Like, if you're an audience where you just care about looks, then yeah, wwhatever, fair enough. But if you're really into the cars, it's not just about the looks. At the end of the day.
yeah,
I feel like this era, a lot of people do think it's just about looks.
yeah, 100%.
That's not where you.
Everyone
and I,
does on looks now. That's it.
It's not what cars are built for, man.
Yeah, I want to know how fucking fast it can go. Like, I want to punish it around a track. I couldn't give two shits about your body kit.
Yeah.
I just don't. Like, I think they're sick. I'm not saying they're bad. I like the look of them. But
Yeah.
what's way more important to me is, like, what's under the hood of that car and how you drive it. That's more important to me.
Definitely.
And see you fucking throw it around a corner. Like, that's what they're designed to do. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
There's like nothing sexy than seeing all those M2s fucking flying around cones,
Yeah.
spinning around in the wet, and then they're doing it at pace in like pretty much full control. It's not like some idiot just flying around in the skid pan. It's fucking all of them can handle.
Connecting
They
it.
know how to handle
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah,
That's fucking
that's
epic.
what we were saying. Like, when we're watching those M2s and stuff going around at the skid pan, the full control and stuff that some of these,
Yeah.
like, there were the learners and you could tell it was their first time, but they were obviously being very welcomed into this. And then, like, the next round would go, like, the senior people would go, and watching this guy just flawlessly execute this obstacle course on the skid pan at Eastern Creek, I was just like, this is standing ovation clap worthy. Like, I'm pretty sure I fucking said something to him when he got out of the car, because he completes the whole circuit. He then parks the car. We're standing right here. He walks past, and I was like, that was fucking sick.
I think it was like it wasn't the best as well. It was always like he could have done better.
Yeah. Super humble. Like, but the execution of this, bro, I'm telling you right now, it was just chef's piss.
I'll have to say this though. This is gonna hurt a few BMW owners, but the car does mess with the work.
Is that true?
The newer cars, they've got like the differentials things, and the computers know how to like lock up the wheels and let it slide and all that. So
Because I was talking to my girlfriend last night, and she gave me the talk. She's like, "You guys love doing burnouts and skids in your Commodores. Why don't you guys do it with a European car?"
that's because if you do it, then you have a $2,000 service fee at BMW next. If you do it,
We're not going to BMW. We service it ourselves.
most owners they take it to the shop, right? Take it to BMW. So that's why.
We're not pulling pilot spots on, we're putting wind runs on. But is that the case?
Like the M
Like
cars,
control and
the M cars definitely they're built for it. Like they got the M differentials, like especially on the newer ones, they got like the lock up, the lighter is good. You can do burnouts and all that stuff. That's why it's so like seems so tameless and easy.
Yep.
I think you give more credit to the ones who got like the older BMWs who don't have any of that, and then they actually know how to skid it. Like I think that's where like they're doing all the work, not the car.
so you're saying it's easier to not lose control in it because of all the tech they have.
Yeah.
So again, pros to the tech.
Let's put it to the test.
That's what I was looking. I was talking to Chris the other day.
I
So
mean,
when,
maybe like if you want, you should let me know. Like you could probably arrange to get like new BMW M car and then maybe like an old one, and then see how they compare.
Absolutely.
Have the same drive both of them,
Yeah.
see how it goes.
not saying who the driver was.
Sign a waiver. I'm not paying for it if I crash it. And,
like that one of the new Gs that came out of your event, not sideways, but it was just foot planted and just kicked it out, held it back and back smooth.
We don't condone that.
Well, just some random guy, not like we know him.
he wasn't at your event.
He wasn't. And the driver was saying like he didn't really try to control it; it just did it itself.
Yeah.
and then it just handles back straight again. And I was like,
Like they,
humble, or is that the case?
I think definitely it's some help with computers.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But No, I think the old schools definitely know how to do it properly. Like if you actually want to see how they do a burnout or how to do a drift, it's the old school cars. But the new cars, they're very easy to do it. And like these cars, they're track cars, they're fun cars. So like, you know, back in the day, like to take it around the track, you know, the old school AMGs, they weren't made to make a track fast. They were made to make a track fun. So that's why they always tail happy, like, you know, sliding around in the track with so much smoke coming out of them. And, you know, now like they've become very serious now. And they're like Nürburgring title, and they're coming after Porsche now. And, you know, the new AMG 1 and the GT Black Series, the top of the Nürburgring status now.
Fuck, that gets me toey. I love that stuff.
But yeah, I think the new systems are definitely helping him. Yeah, what do you, any questions that you guys have want to ask about BMWs or anything in general? You guys want to expand your knowledge a bit more?
That was my most interested one. So we had this conversation last night when I was on the toilet. She was literally standing out the door and asked me that question. I thought about it before.
Yeah.
And then it was funny when she spoke about it. And I was like, are you trying to hint something as in we should look at a European and do what I do to it?
I mean, go ahead. Like, if you want to, like, it's capable of doing it. And if you do it all the work yourself or you take it to an independent shop, then it'll be all right. It will be stuff like, you know, you have to wait for parts maybe sometimes because it comes from Germany.
I got him. We stock it.
But yeah, definitely it's new cars. The new BMWs, they are more than capable. And they're more than capable around the track in a straight line. And yeah, I think, like I said, with the tune, they're already like crazy power numbers, figures. So, and that's with any like new European car as well. I'll say like any Mercedes, Audis, all of that, just simple stuff like that. I don't know if it's a similar case for the Japanese cars. I think they had like a tune, but you know, they have to do an intake, you have to do, you know, so many different stuff headers and all that stuff you have to change to like make the power out of a bigger turbo, all of that. And the fact that it already comes with all this stuff pre-made, you just have to do this one thing and there you go, 800 horsepower.
Magical one. No, but you got any questions for Aasim, Tom?
I've kind of been throwing them at you like this entire episode. Normally I leave it to the end, but like I've just kind of been fucking throwing it at you this entire time. I was going to throw more shade and criticism at BMW and see how you handled it, but
Did you want to joke about the BMWs not using blinkers?
You brought it up, bro.
Do we leave it at there or do we dive in?
You know what? That's actually really funny because the old saying was like bloody Volvo drivers, and you never see Volvos on the road anymore. So clearly they all crashed and died. Now I say very much it's BMW. It's bloody BMW drivers. Like I feel like there's so much. Yeah, there's not a lot of love towards you guys on the street.
And the thing is a typical, like, you know, BMW driver, you know, tailgates you. He's got his high beams on. He's got his Oakleys on or his Ray-Bans on, suit and tie on the Autobahn, right on your tail because he's got a business meeting to catch, you know, so. And the blinker stereotype actually goes into the fact that BMW, I don't know why, this is one thing I say Germans over-engineered a blinker. So on a normal car, you press this blinker to go down, to turn left or turn right, and it goes down and then it pops back up when you turn the wheel, right? But then with the BMWs, you push it down, but then it still goes back up. It still stays like up. It doesn't actually go down. So it just stay upright and then it's blinking. And then like the only way you can turn it off is you turn that sharply or you tap on it again. But then some people, they tap it the other way and then the other blinker goes off. So they're just, so then they're just like, it's too hard to just don't use blinkers.
The thing that I didn't like is how you had to do like the pull and then like the full extension. So like, because the full extension is what made the blinker stay all the way on. And that's the thing I was just like, just fucking do one or the other. Like, just don't make this difficult.
They do the left and then the right again to cancel it.
So yeah, like it's just, it's always staying still. It doesn't actually go up or down. So that's why they just gave up. Like people don't know how to use it.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, man, I like the M2 competition is like up there with one of my dream cars to own out of the top 10. Like I'd like just to have one. Nice, sick, like possibly red, but like a black one. Just bad black, all the right stainless like fittings and extensions and like just that's what I would love. I could happily retire with one of those things and just have fun with it. Like I just think they are like they're not too big. They got all the right power. They have everything I want. Like
No,
they look
definitely.
sick.
Like
Yeah, that's not saying I don't like the others. It's always stood out to me.
no, the M2 people like say like when Top Gear first reviewed the M2, and I always grew up watching Top Gear anyway. So the M2 when they first
Hang on, sorry, the UK one, right?
yes, of course,
thank
Jeremy
fuck for
Clarkson and Richard Hammond and James May.
that. Okay,
I mean,
just checking.
the Australian one's coming out soon, which is
Yeah, I
interesting.
know. Yeah.
You watching it?
Maybe.
To be fair, I mean this in no offense to the old guys, but like they do have way better hosts. If you've got Moog from Mighty Carmons,
yeah.
you do way better.
I actually don't even remember the old host, but
Well, it was Kenny.
oh yeah,
Kenny,
okay.
the old Australian actor. He was the only guy I had time for. The other two, I had no idea who the fuck they were. Probably
I mean
some-
the new Top Gear as well. Like there was only Chris Harris. That's about it.
I got
And
time
Rory
for
as
it.
well. That was it.
I got time for it. I'll watch it. Like
Yeah.
I think it's funny because I think the group has a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
Like the personalities that are on there and the way they interact with each
I think
other.
it'll definitely be more successful.
I agree. Like I think it has way more potential now to do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, back to you saying with the M2, like so they reviewed it, and Jeremy Clarkson has said like this is the way BMW's always been, like the E36, the E30s. The M2 is like a homage to that because now the 3 Series has become too big and heavy, and it's not as good as it used to be. It's still quicker than M2 because they've deliberately throttled it.
We have to. They went up a number. Like yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, so it's funny enough the M2 competition has the same engine as the M4 and the M3.
Yeah.
So, pretty much the same thing, pretty much the same gearbox, everything like that. It's just a smaller package.
Well, the M2 comp is what I'm all about. Like that is my that's my sweet spot right there.
Yeah.
M4 every day.
Dude, an M4 came into Pro Speed the other day and it was fucking fire. Like this thing was dope. It was so aggressive. So aggressive. I loved it. Loved every moment of it. The wheels like were big, but they looked like they could be 30 inches. Like that's how fucking big they were.
Let's talk about wheels.
Okay.
What is it with BMWs and the BBSs? Fucking every kid I talk to, can I get BBSs for my wheel? Oh, for my car?
Like, bro, they play too much Need for Speed. Like that's
I mean, yeah, the BMW and BBSs, they always interlink. Yeah, it goes all the way back to like the E30s, and BMW actually goes to BBS to make their wheels as well. So I guess that's the reason why there's a big.
Do you think everyone know about it? The people that ask for it nowadays know about that history.
No, probably not about the history. They just think, oh wow, it looks sick.
actually. Do you have something I want to know? Obviously, it's BMW in
German,
Deutschland.
yeah.
Do you have your own acronym
For BMW.
for BMW that you call it?
I mean, I think everyone knows the Break My Wallet, which is the typical one, and then Big Money Waster, and then
Do you have one that resonates
What's
with
your
you?
go-to?
I mean, I think
Big Money Waster.
Big Money Waster is pretty good. Like like I said, you spend on parts, anything like that, it's expensive. So break my wallet or Big Money Waster, you're always spending money.
Fucking BMW.
That's a good one.
I like it.
I mean, there's so many acronyms for other car brands. Like, you got like Ford and like Holden and
Hit me with one. Go.
like, Fix It Again, Tony, like for Fiat. And then Ford is, found on the side of the road or something dead or something like that. Yeah. So you always, find those little like acronyms for each ones, and then, yeah.
Yeah. It's all fun and games at the end of the day.
It
bro.
is 100%. And I think, people always, joke at each other. Like, I think everyone jokes on BMWs on themselves as well. Like, crank up and downpipe in his tune. Like, there you go. That's the crank up issues are the common issues on the F80s. Oh, crank up. That's what everyone talks about.
It's the biggest problem in Zetland right now in Sydney.
And then you got the downpipe and tune. There you go, 800 horsepower. Like, there's typical stuff. Back with the wheels that you're saying, E30s on BBSs, it is like common. You see a lot of E30s with BBSs, the slammed or on bags. They do look good. I have to admit that they do look really good. But I have actually now seen quite a lot of JDM wheels on BMWs.
Yep.
If you see it on the new F80s and G series ones, you see a lot of TE37s, Advans, you know,
SSRs.
yeah, VSXKs, like a lot of, you know,
I like it.
you know,
people
Blitz
change it up.
threes, like, you know, a lot of interesting wheels that are on a German color. You don't see them on there, and I think
It's the ball pattern matches, bro. The ball pattern matches. The ball patterns for most BMWs fit Holdens 5x120.
Yeah.
Like it's great. I saw it once. I was like,
I saw a Commodore with M4 wheels. I was like, what the heck?
yeah, it works. Like,
It does
like,
work.
Oh shit.
But yeah, like I think the JDM wheels on the European cars, I think that's actually like a new trend that's going on, and I think
Okay.
I'm actually kind of digging it.
Everything. The JDM wheels are going onto everything now.
I know.
I think it used to be always on the JDMs, and now it's on the European cars. I'm just like, ooh,
They're expanding their market.
3-piece wheels.
Fuck, that's an expensive job. Oh god.
How are we tracking for time?
I think
45.
Oh shit. Oh, bro, thank you so much for coming on to this podcast. I can't believe how much time just fucking escapes you
it
doing
has,
this.
gone by,
thing.
it has gone by really quick. I felt like I was rambling on for quite some time. So
Bro, thank you so much for coming on. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
you can find me on BMW Owners Sydney on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're the first search on everything, pretty much. You can also follow my car page, which is that blue_E90. But yeah, come to the meets, come say hi. I think the best part about the meets is that I'm happy to talk to anyone, really.
Yeah.
And if you don't know anything about BMWs, I'm happy to talk to you about BMWs. If you have a BMW, I'm happy to talk about your BMW.
How it's
I'm
parked in
happy-
the
I'm happy to-
garage, like what fuel you put in it, like
I'm happy to be a big money waster.
do you just look at it randomly for no reason at 5 minutes? Like
But yeah, 100%. Like I said, I welcome you guys to come to the meet.
Yeah, man,
Come
please.
down,
Yes, we will.
please. Like I said, it's not just limited to BMWs. Bring your, Holdens, bring your MX-5, bring anything.
We'll break the facade with
Yeah.
all cars unite.
And then, I think that meet, like you said, in May, let's do it. And then the go-karting,
yeah.
I'm keen on that, actually.
Ooh, another
Right,
one.
right,
Another one.
another
one.
Bro, I tell you what, it's getting intense now just because so many people are like, I didn't expect so many people to say yes, all right? That was the thing. Like, we called a few people out and stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay, maybe like one or two would do it. No, pretty much like most were like, put your
It will
money
be
where your mouth
interesting
is.
because you got all the other car clubs there. And I think, it would be like, oh, this car club versus this car club would be interesting. And then I think the only thing is that it would be embarrassing for us to win is because, we're seen as like, Nürburgring winners. And then to lose on the track would be pretty embarrassing. So
Well, you can bring that attitude and that level of heat onto the go-kart track because we're taking you away from your cars. So everyone's on the same go-kart. Don't forget that. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, man, the May event, I suppose that kind of leads into our stuff. But like the May event obviously isn't that far off. It's fucking sick. Invites are out. And obviously we're pretty stoked and excited. Like it's the first thing we've done something on this larger scale for like what we're trying to build and what we're trying to do for this, which is why there's so many like collaborative partners in on this May event. Which is a great thing because we want everyone to feel like they're a part of it and chipping in, but like it's gonna be fucking big. Like it's gonna be sick.
are you going to give any hints or any secrets or details?
Oh, it's all out.
Oh, it's all out? Okay.
Yeah,
it's all out.
Yeah, bro, like it's all out, man. The only thing we won't give is the final location, just for an obvious reason. Honestly, just because someone will either ruin it, or it may potentially ruin the route. And honestly, like we put a lot of fucking hard work into the actual route that we're going for the event.
Yeah.
Like we fucking mapped this out. We've got boys doing a trial run actually next week to actually make sure like it's all perfect. There's no potholes, like there's no nothing, like understand every sneaky corner that there is, like just understanding everything back to front. We put so much work into this, money into this to make this fucking sick.
So when is it? What's the date?
May 19, man.
May 19th.
19th,
Okay.
Beautiful Sunday morning.
Big sunrise.
Beautiful.
What time?
Sunday. People have to leave Sydney at 7 a.m. to get to the Central Coast, which is where everyone will be congregating at 8 a.m.
Okay.
and then we'll be going north to
So
the
like
Hunter.
Newcastle. Oh, Hunter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Big cruise day.
Oh, that'll be fun. I reckon.
Yeah, it will be fun.
I
bro.
reckon, like, if you can do, I don't know if you have already thought about it, but have sections, I guess, within your meet. Have, like, dedicated Euro section, dedicated Japanese section. I think it'd be cool.
Nah, mix. Fuck that.
Mix.
No, I want to mix it,
You don't-
bro.
you don't wanna mix
Stop segregating the event, bro. This is what we're trying to eliminate.
Let's, like, have, like, see all these cars one section, these cars one section.
No, we ain't care about a show and shine.
Okay,
We care
fair
about
enough. Yeah, no.
meeting everyone and driving. I want the drives.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. We're not about show and shines, bro. Like,
Yeah.
this is not our style. Like, we're the doing of cars, not the...
Show.
We're like
showing
early
us.
morning
Yeah.
birds chirping, vroom, vroom, vroom.
But it's going to be amazing. Like, yeah, we've hired a lot of videographers and photographers to make this happen, and like section off groups. Like, everything is like mapped out accordingly. Like, it's gnarly.
You're getting me excited.
Good. Fucking come.
I'll come. Definitely.
You have to bring a radio. I want
have
to
to
make
bring a
that
radio.
clear.
Walkie-talkie.
I'm gonna say.
Walkie-talkie.
I'm gonna say on every single. I know I've already come out and said it, but like every single time, I'm gonna come out and promote this event, and I expect everyone else to do the same thing. Bring a fucking radio. Bring a walkie-talkie. Channel 16. Make it happen.
Yeah, I think like the problem with the walkie-talkies, I like 100% agree with it, but not everyone has a walkie-talkie.
So go buy one. There's fucking $20.
But like, if you come to a meet, right? Like, I'm sure not everyone will have it with them. That's the only thing.
Yeah, they will in
Bring
their
one.
cars.
Oh,
That's-
and they
that's
you're gonna
what-
have it. Okay, you're gonna make sure like in the post
there.
that,
Bro,
yeah,
if
that's
you
it.
want sick rollers and photo shots and want to understand this event better and not get lost or do anything like that, you'll buy a fucking radio. Honestly,
Okay.
we're trying to make it a big thing in
Yeah.
cars now today. Bring a radio. You can't be on your phone. You can't be this. No, you don't want to singly call someone.
yeah,
Oh, there's a copperhead. How do you tell 100 people that? A radio.
yeah,
There's a big fat pothole. Everyone's got nice rims. Not everyone's going to go through that.
There's
Yeah.
a dead fucking kangaroo in the middle of the road. You're going to have to
Yeah.
keep left.
Yeah.
no, definitely. I think walkie-talkie is definitely a good
Big
and
brain thinking, bro.
Just comes
Trying to
back-
normalise it
comes back
across
to
the
Top
whole
Gear
car
games,
industry.
Yeah?
Bro,
Top Gear
yeah.
days with the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, but trying to honestly normalize that across everything,
Yeah.
you probably don't even realize this. You'd have no idea how much it would help your events.
Yeah, no, I've definitely looked at it,
Yeah.
but I think there's actually an app you can get on your phone.
There is, yeah.
That does the walkie-talkie stuff. So
I'm just worried about the distance.
yeah, and then also like you got the phone restriction stuff, and that's also
You don't have to talk. You can just put it on your sun visor and just hear me sing.
Oh, tell me what you want. What's your
But on that note, I think it's time to wrap it up.
okay.
Thank you, Aasim, for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing all your insightful details, information on the BMWs. It was a fun night. First European guest. Car.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I didn't overwhelm you guys.
No.
Fucking
Not
love
at
it.
all.
We love the Europeans.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening, all the supporters, everyone that have listened, made it to the end. If you want to follow Car Culture Australia, we're on all social platforms. So just go search our name. I won't go through the whole lot.
Yeah,
We're
it
there.
comes up.
It
We're the
comes
first thing
up.
that comes
We're
up.
the first thing. About the event, it's all on Facebook. Page is live. Event banners will be starting to go out next week. So keep your eyes out for that.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Simple.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
Thank you very
tuning in.
much.
Thank you.
Until
Thanks
next
for having
time.
me.
See you later.